Hey guys, got another odd tool here today. It's a 2000s era forged body ratcheting wrench from Craftsman Industrial. It's like the Craftsman version of the GearWrench, but it was made in the USA. And that V, upside down V marking, that means it was made in one of the old Armstrong plants. It has this weird feature where if you're using the wrench and all of a sudden you have an obstruction in the way and you can't back up, but you got the bolt tightened down all the way so you can't go clockwise anymore either, you can bias the body of the wrench sideways and the gear mechanism releases, allowing the wrench to free spin on the nut, letting you reposition it in any direction. I wonder how many people never knew their wrench had this feature and accidentally put it into free spin mode and assumed that their wrench had broken. And yes, it is a real feature. It's not a defective wrench or anything. They actually advertise doing this on the back of the packaging. This wrench first showed up in the 2005 Craftsman catalog, and it is clearly inspired by the GearWrench. But the USA Craftsman only has a 30 tooth count ratchet mechanism compared to the 72 teeth on the Taiwanese GearWrench. The Craftsman is also slightly thicker since it has two external metal rings that secure the ratchet mech in place, while the GearWrench has an internal retention mechanism. Also, see how the wrench body kind of bounces up and down every time it clicks? Yeah, you can feel that in your hand when using it. It just feels clunky to use. I'm sure it's stronger than a GearWrench due to the coarser tooth count, but the mechanism feels loosey-goosey, likely due to that gear release feature. The GearWrench is just nicer, and it has a shorter swing arc due to the higher tooth count. And the GearWrench had already been introduced 9 years earlier, in 1996. What makes this even more odd is that these were produced for Sears in the Armstrong plant. The Armstrong plant was owned by the Danaher Corporation, which is who Sears had the contract with for Craftsman tool production. Danaher also owned KD Tools, who was producing tools in the same Armstrong plant. KD is the one who created the GearWrench brand by licensing the patent from Roy Yang, a Taiwanese company, in '96. So why would Craftsman come up with their own low tooth count design 9 years after the GearWrench had come out, when they already had access to the GearWrench brand through Danaher? Yeah, Sears was already selling GearWrench products in the Craftsman catalog side by side with this low tooth count knockoff. And Armstrong was already producing reversible full polish ratcheting wrenches using the GearWrench style 72 tooth mechanism in the same plant that made this one. So this wrench really shouldn't exist, unless there was some patent licensing issue where they weren't allowed to put the GearWrench mechanism in a Craftsman wrench. It wasn't a cost-saving measure either to go with a lower tooth count mech. The Craftsman set was more expensive than the GearWrench. And that gear release feature? Did anyone ask for that? I don't know. It just seems like the Craftsman would have been awesome if it had come out back in the 80s, but not in 2005, after GearWrench had already taken over the ratcheting wrench market. And Sears kept selling these up through at least the 2014 catalog. It's one of those tools where I want to like it, because it was made by Armstrong here in the USA, but it's just not as good as the Taiwanese-made GearWrench. Alright everybody, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more unusual tools. See you later. Bye.